Good morning everyone, my name's Chlorine Hines and I'm a Wiradjuri elder, and I'd like to welcome you all to Wiradjuri country, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present and pay my respect to everyone here today. So I hope you all enjoy your awards and all have a good day. Thank you. And over to you, Joe.
Thank you for your lovely welcome to country, Chlorine. A big welcome to all of our virtual guests and for those of us joining us on location across the country. My name is Jo Palmer and I was the 2019 AgriFutures Rural Women's Award National winner, and I'll be your MC for today. And what an interesting few years it's been. I myself never imagined that I would be MCing the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award National announcement as a hybrid event, with people dialing in both remotely and from 7 physical locations across Australia. But resilience and flexibility have certainly been the buzzwords for both 2020 and 2021, and today is no exception to that. For me personally, the Rural Women's Award ride has certainly exceeded all of my expectations, and I'm thrilled to see what the next year brings for this year's national finalists. Before my official introductions, I would like to quickly paint the picture of how today will work. We have 7 small state and territory-based events taking place here in Wagga Wagga, where I'm located today, Ballarat, Perth, Darwin, Launceston, Brisbane and Adelaide. Our wonderful 7 national finalists are present in these locations, along with state and territory dignitaries, alumni and guests. The team at AgriFutures has worked closely with the teams in each of the state and territory agencies to deliver today's celebrations, and we really appreciate everyone's attendance. Warmest welcome to ministers, members and senators, our 2020 national finalists, Karen Brock, Kelly Barnes, Cara Peake, Stephanie Schmidt, Alicia Parker, Cressida Keynes, Amy Kirk and all of their support teams. I would also like to welcome our Rural Women's Award alumni, AgriFutures Australia's board members, members from our supporting state and territory government agencies, Platinum sponsors Westpac, members of the press, particularly our media partners from ABC Rural, R.M. Williams Outback Magazine and Australian Community Media. Our social media handle is @AgriFuturesAU, and the hashtag for today is #RWA National Announcement. Shortly we'll be crossing live to each state and territory location, then we'll be crossing to Sydney to chat with our platinum sponsors at Westpac. This will be followed by celebratory videos featuring each of our 7 national finalists, which were luckily filmed earlier in the year when all the borders were open. Finally, the Minister for Agriculture and Northern Australia, the Honourable David Littleproud MP, will be joining us for the announcement of the national runner-up, followed by the national winner. At times today, I will be referring to this collective of amazing women as the 2020 national finalists. Even though we are in 2021, I can assure you I'm not confusing the years. This cohort of women were announced as the winner in their state and territories in 2020, and due to COVID-19, we are announcing the 2020 national winner and runner-up in 2021. Here with me in Wagga is Mrs. Kay Hull AO, Chair of AgriFutures Australia. I would now like to introduce Kay to say a few words.
Thank you, Jo, and welcome to everybody. And thank you, Chlorine. Thank you for your beautiful welcome to country. And a super thanks to you, Jo, for carrying the title so very well. During this uncertainty of the past 18 months, you have been a wonderful ambassador, and we certainly appreciate all of your efforts. I understand it's going to be very hard for you to let go of this title, but I'm sorry, you absolutely must, okay? So thank you very much. This event certainly looks a little different this year, doesn't it? However, if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's that absolutely anything is possible. The theme of Anything is Possible is perfect for today and a fantastic way of viewing everything that the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award actually represents. A warm welcome to everyone who's joined us today from right across Australia. There are more than 600 registered attendees, and we are so appreciative of your continued support for the awards and for the amazing women of this nation. The thought of this event streaming into homes, workplaces and communities right across this country really adds an exciting dimension to the Rural Women's Award National Announcement Celebration. I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank our 7 MCs in our states and territories. You are carrying this event on your shoulders today, so you know, we've got somebody to blame if things go wrong somewhere along the line here. It won't be us. Okay. Before I cross to each of the states and territories, I'd like to congratulate the national finalists: Kelly, Cara, Cressida, Alicia, Amy, Stephanie and Karen. Our finalists just seem to excel every single year. We just seem to get this excelling of the most amazing women and the most amazing projects and dimensions of what we can be if we really put our minds to it. Thank you to all of you for your patience, your understanding and your overall commitment to this amazing award through some very turbulent times. Thank you for making a difference to so many through your dedicated passion. Your journey has certainly had more hurdles than those who've come before you. And with the cancellation of the pinnacle event, the 2020 Gala Dinner at Parliament House in Canberra, the number of virtual workshops as opposed to face-to-face meetings, and finally, again, another cancellation of the 2021 Gala Dinner in Parliament House. However, here we are. We're beaming across our vast country, all thanks to this little dedicated team of workers right here in Wagga Wagga who've spread their arms to every dedicated team of workers in every state and territory. And we are now out there beaming across this nation. To our finalists, thank you for your perseverance. Thank you for supporting each other through this journey and for giving so much of yourself to this award. Right, now we go for the trip around Australia. So this is going to be fun. As Joe mentioned, we have 7 small state and territory-based events that are taking place rather than one gala, finale dinner. We are in five different time zones, okay? So what could possibly go wrong, everyone? Just let's see how we go. Firstly, here we start. I would like to cross to Brisbane, to Queensland national finalists Alicia Parker and Sinead McCarthy, the Deputy Director General Corporate, Queensland Department of Agriculture and Fisheries. Also joining them in the room today is our AgriFutures board member, Emma Robinson. So, hi Sinead, how's everyone going in sunny Brisbane today? And who do you have in the room sharing with you this fabulous event?
Thanks, Kay. Hello from Queensland. We're having a fantastic morning here today. We've heard from our Minister, Mark Ferner, Minister for Agricultural, Industry Development and Fisheries and Minister for Rural Communities, and of course from our inspirational Queensland winner, Alicia Parker. We're also here with our Master of Ceremonies, Jackie Wilson-Smith, and we have a room full of community and industry leaders. And we're really looking forward to seeing who the winner is today.
Wow, thanks Sinead, and thank you to everyone who's supporting this day in Queensland, and along with all of the ministers who've made their time available as well, to give messages and perhaps even to be able to be in the room with our great winners. Thanks Sinead and Alicia. Now we're going over to Tasmania, to our national finalist Karen Brock and the Honourable Guy Barnett, Minister for Primary Industries and Water. So hello Minister Barnett, it's lovely to see you again after all this time. You're coming to us live from scenic Tasmania today. So who do you have in the room with you to share the achievements of our rural women, Guy?
Well, thanks so much, Kay, and it's great to catch up with you again after all those years. And to my colleague ministers around Australia, I'm here with Karen Brock in the beautiful state of Tasmania, the most beautiful state of all the states and territories. We're in the Tamar Valley and home of a real hub for agriculture and premium food and beer and wine and all those gourmet things that we enjoy. And I'm here with Karen, who lives not far away, and she's our star candidate for today. We're very proud of her. We've heard her story just a few moments ago, and we're here supported by representatives of rural women in Tasmania and, of course, Westpac and the ABC and other supporters of Karen Brock. So we're flying the flag for Karen today, and we're really rapt to be part of this story.
Thank you, Minister Barnett. And look, you don't look a day different in the last 20 years since I've seen you, so congratulations to you for that. I've gone a little bit greyer since we've last met, but thanks, Minister Barnett, and to Karen. Now, we're going to Victoria. Victoria's national finalists, Kelly Barnes and Minister Mary-Ann Thomas, and the Minister for Regional Development and the Minister for Agriculture. Hello, Minister Thomas. Now, due to your restrictions in Melbourne, you are all meeting in Ballarat today. But who have you got in the room with you today to celebrate our women who are enhancing agriculture?
So we are delighted to be joining you. We are delighted to be joining you today from Wadawurrung and Djajawarrung country here in Ballarat. I'm here today with our fabulous winner, Kelly Barnes, who will be a winner in our hearts, whatever happens today. I've got to take Guy up now on the challenge. We're here in Ballarat, in Victoria, the most beautiful state in the whole of Australia, here with a group of wonderful, inspirational women. We're having a ball joining together today and celebrating with Kelly. Go, Kelly, and go all the women right across Australia. We're so proud of you all.
Oh, thank you, Minister Thomas, and to Kelly. Well, look, she even got a rousing applause for that. Well done, and that's your job, to promote your state. We need that visitation up and happening. The borders are going to be open and everybody's going to be travelling, so it's going to be a competition between Tassie and Victoria now. So let's see how far we can take this competition as we go around our nation. So thank you. Now let's head west. Now we've got our west to WA, our Western Australian national finalists, Cara Peake and the Honourable Alana McTiernan, MLC, Minister for Regional Development, Agriculture, Food and Minister for the Hydrogen Industry. Also joining them in the room today is our AgriFutures board member, Bill Ryan. Hello, Minister McTiernan. It's an earlier start for all of you in Perth this morning. Now, how is the West today? And who do you have in the room to support our amazing women? Oh, look at this.
Look, it's a fabulous day here. We're on Nyungar country and we are very, very happy over here in Western Australia in our very wide open sunny cave. And we're going to let you eastern staters fight it out between yourselves about who's best, because we're pretty confident with what's been happening here in this fabulous state. But we have in the room today a whole heap of people and many of the alumni of this competition. And because this is a really important award on the calendar for rural women in Western Australia. And of course, this year we're so proud that we have our fabulous Kimberley girl, Cara Peake, a Yawuru woman who has done amazing things, establishing a saltwater academy that celebrates and develops that incredible cultural heritage that is pastoralism, Aboriginal participation in the pastoral industry. So Cara's an absolute gem, a real community leader, and we greatly treasure her. She's done amazingly well to get here, and we just hope she wins the big one.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Minister, and to Cara, and to all of those who are supporting you in Western Australia. We really do appreciate it. And Minister, thank you as a Minister for taking the time to be with Cara today. It's a wonderful effort that the ministers are putting in for these amazing women. Now we're going to cross to South Australia to our national finalist, Stephanie Schmidt, and Deanna Lush. We have the 2019 South Australian AgriFutures Rural Women's Award winner. Also joining them in the room today is AgriFutures board member Danny Lefebvre. Thank you. Great to see you, Danny. And hello, Deanna. You're coming to us live from beautiful Adelaide today. So tell us, who do you have in the room with you to share on this fabulous journey?
Yeah, hi Kay, thanks for that, and greetings to everyone around Australia. So we are here in Adelaide on Kaurna country today, and we've heard from our Minister David Basham this morning as well. We've also got representatives from our sponsors in the room, from Westpac and AgriFutures. We've got media here, and we've also got members of the Rural Women's Award alumni. But the most important person in the room that we are celebrating today, and all her amazing achievements, is Steph Schmidt. She is a passionate advocate for rural mental health. She is nailing it on all fronts. She's a farmer, she's a mother, she's doing some amazing, awesome stuff. So I don't want to start some kind of state warfare, but, you know, we're going to have to in South Australia if, yeah, when it comes to the cheering factor. So, yeah, thanks so much, Kay. Looking forward to a really great afternoon, and we're going to be cheering Steph home all the way. We think she is a champion.
Thank you, Deanna, and thank you, Steph. And yeah, like, we're happy for you to have a competition on who can cheer the loudest for, you know, in every state and territory. So please feel free to do so. So, okay, let's head north to the Territory's national finalist, Amy Kirk, and to Ian Kernell, the Senior Executive of Director of Fisheries, Northern Territory's Department of Industry, Tourism and Trade. Now, over to you, Ian. Hi, Ian. How are you and your guests enjoying? I suspect it's a balmy 30-odd degree day today. Oh, look at everyone waving there. Go with it. Who do you have in the room with you to recognise this wealth of women's talent?
Yeah, look, thanks and welcome to everyone from out Australia in what is a very tropical day today in Darwin. It's certainly very warm, I must say, but it's fantastic to be here on Larrakia country. We've got a great group of people here today, Amy's friends, family, past winners, and a very extraordinary bunch of women, none more so than Amy, our finalist today. And we want to give congratulations to all the finalists, irrespective of the outcome, because I think the awards are all about recognising the extraordinary contribution these women make in rural Australia.
Well done. Thank you, Ian and Amy, and thank you to all of those in the Northern Territory who are there absolutely being excited and supporting the awards today. Okay, so last but not least, I'd like to welcome Cressida Cairns, the New South Wales ACT National Finalist, and Pip Jobe, Director of Engagement, New South Wales Department of Primary Industry. Also joining us in the room today is our AgriFutures board members, Diana Gibbs and Cindy Cassidy, along with our Managing Director, John Harvey, and a lot of other supporters here today to support our wonderful women in this award. We also have our Deputy Chair, Andrew Harris, who is joining us online out of Sydney. So, Pip and Cressida, we're here today in the heart of the Riverina. Yeah, we have to get active here, guys. Okay, we're here today in the great. Okay, we're here today in the heart of the Riverina. Talk us through who else is in the room with us and who we have here to support what a difference women can make.
Thank you, Kay. So we're here in beautiful Wagga Wagga. We're on the absolute cusp of a bumper harvest in New South Wales, so we'll see who holds the record to our dear friends in the other states and territories. But we've got a room full of the cheer squad for our fabulous finalist Cressida Cairns and her project Dairy Cocoon, which supports small dairy farmers who value add to really leverage the opportunities that are ahead of them. And as Cressida's wise words this morning were, put craft beer, replace that with dairy products like yogurts and ice creams and all those great things that we love to indulge in. So in the room here, we've got great staff from the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries who are big fans of Cressida and her project. We've got AgriFutures staff, Westpac, who are our key sponsors, and we're all really anxious to find out who the winner is. We love Jo's sparkly dress, and of course we have our favourite accessories, face masks and hand sanitisers. Back to you, Kay.
Thank you, Pip and Cressida. And of course, everyone's determined and talking about who the winner is. But can I say to each of you are winners. 100%. No matter who becomes the national winner today, each of you winners, each of you in the states and territories are extraordinary winners. And I'm sure that the judges have the most difficult time in judging these awards because, you know, I know that, you know, you all come in so very, very closely, and I would not like to be a judge. And I'm so grateful that I have no idea who has won this award because, you know, it's really tense when you know something about it and you're waiting for that person to be announced. But before I'm going to hand over to Chris in a moment. But before I hand over to Chris, I want to thank our team, our AgriFutures team. I want to thank Belinda Aylett, Ange Wakeman and Abby O'Callaghan for the tireless efforts they have put in to ensure each of our worthy winners are recognised and celebrated. I've honestly got to say, as the chair of AgriFutures, this team actually demonstrates what women are capable of achieving. They have delivered, you know, in seven events across 7 states and territories in 5 different time zones, and all of these amazing girls have pulled this off. And not only did they pull it off, all of those people in every state and territory pulled it off because we're running like clockwork here. It's amazing. So thank you to the 7 RWA coordinators in each of our states and territories. For each of you, you've graduated now as event managers, and after this event, your whole career could change directions. Because this has taken some effort to organise and stage. So to the whole team, our AgriFutures team, to our RWA coordinators in every state and territory, to our finalists who are all winners, amazing women in their own right, we say thank you. But I'd like to also say thank you to our sponsors, all of our sponsors. Without our sponsors, this is a non-event. So each of you have stayed with us for so many years, and we are so grateful for that. I'm going to introduce Krista Bruin, who is the Chief Executive of Consumer and Business Banking Westpac. But before I do, I just want to say a sincere thank you to Westpac. Westpac have been a long-standing platinum sponsor of the Rural Women's Award and have celebrated the extraordinary journeys of women who have been contributing to agriculture over many years. Women have always contributed to agriculture. It's just that they've always been in the background. Now, through the Rural Women's Awards, we are putting them where they belong and where they deserve to be, front and centre, right up front. And we don't apologise for that. That is what this is all about. So we value enormously the partnership that we've had with Westpac and their staff, and I'd sincerely like to thank them for their, Westpac, for their vision and commitment to the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award. Without this support, we could not deliver this wonderful experience to our worthy women. And in our room today, we have Sam Gaston and Penny Ashcroft, who are representing Westpac. Last night we dined together, and Sam was saying how the highlight of the award is the celebration of women at the gala event, where their achievements are recognised in Parliament House. And I agree, Sam, it is a highlight where women are showcased to the finest and to the corporates of the world in an event. So we haven't been able to achieve that. We have got over 600 people online with us today. But that event, ladies, your finalists, we will give you your night of fanfare and recognition in 2022. I can guarantee you that. So I will be seeing you in Canberra at our fanfare gala dinner 2022. And I'm now going to pass on over to you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kay. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you also to Chlorine Lions for the welcome to country. I would like to start by paying my respects to the traditional custodians of the land from which I'm joining you, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I also want to acknowledge some very important people that are here with us. The Honourable David Littleproud, Member of Parliament, Minister of Agriculture and Northern Australia, and all the other state ministers that are present. Importantly, Kay, I want to recognise you as Chair of AgriFutures and all the energy that you bring to this. But most importantly, I want to acknowledge the 2020 finalists who are in attendance. It's a wonderful achievement. Congratulations and good luck for this afternoon. Very briefly, a personal experience. Many of you will know that I arrived in Australia early this year, and one of the wonderful introductions that I got into Australia was to go to Beef Week in Rockhampton. And I took so many amazing lessons away from that, but one of the most important was the incredible networks and strong connections that community re-energized during that week. But I also saw firsthand, including at a high tea that we sponsored, the incredible role that women are playing in regional and rural Australia and also in the beef industry. Women are driving progress and innovation across these industries and sectors. And it was a wonderful introduction for me into Australia, and I think put me in the right framing on how we attack rural Australia and how we support businesses and the agriculture business in particular. So we're really proud as Westpac to support the RWA and to back the future of rural Australia. We see a bright future for rural Australia, and we're here to support the businesses and to help them grow. But importantly, as Kay has mentioned, we're here to support the role of women in these businesses also. We can see that 34% of businesses are led by women. And interestingly, more than half of students studying agriculture at university today are women. So we're here to celebrate and champion rural leadership. We're here to champion the role of women in that leadership. And today's recipients are incredibly inspiring for their grit, their courage, and their determination. The future for rural Australia is incredibly bright, and women are leading great operations, and they are driving, as equal partners, the economy in rural Australia. So we're incredibly privileged to be part of this, to be part of today, but importantly, to be backing rural Australia and backing particularly women as they lead in rural Australia. So it's, for me, personally gratifying. I know that we as the leaders of Westpac, we could not be more excited about what we are doing here together, and we will continue to support. So once again, congratulations to the 2020 state winners. Good luck this afternoon, and I'll hand back to Joe Palmer.
Thank you so much, Chris. Now for one of my favourite parts of the event. All of the 7 national finalists have been on an amazing journey, and their stories are nothing short of real, raw and relatable. It's hard to condense the vision, aspirations and actions of these women into 3-minute videos, as their projects are much more than just projects. They are creating change and delivering important outcomes in rural and regional communities throughout Australia. We will now showcase all of the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award national finalist stories consecutively. Please roll those tapes.
I've been involved in agriculture since I was 8 years old. That involved learning how to muster sheep at a very early age, and I then moved into cut flowers in my later life, and the journey then ended up being in propagation of ornamental plants with one of the biggest retailers in Australia. As a result of being allergic to potting mix spores, I then moved into sterile production of plants, propagating in a laboratory situation and supplying plants to agribusiness sector. Our laboratory chops up plants for a living. We are really, really excited to take people's material that actually comes in probably 20 buds. We're talking a stick that's not very long, and we place it in test tubes with agar-based or seaweed-based gelling medias. Once we are successful with that, we then take those plants and we multiply them under high intense LED lights and the right heat, the right temperature and humidity, and then we move them through until we hand them over to my husband Tim, who takes them out of that little embryonic world and puts roots on them, and we give them to the farmers. One of the problems into the future is the supply of seaweed-based gel medias. There is huge competition from cosmetics, from food industries, and also on top of that we have different climate changes happening and warming the currents around the world. This is changing what kelp is available. My project is looking at what is called a temporary immersion system. It's an advanced bioreactor that is being flooded with a nutrient solution that does not contain agar. The project was to investigate a number of different immersion methods. We were looking at experimenting how we could utilise this to assist the apple industry in rapidly producing their apple rootstocks to recuperate from the bushfire ravaged areas in Batlow, Bilpin and the Adelaide Hills. We were given 50 pieces of apple material in August last year, and the challenge was to try and get to 100,000 apples by the end of this year. We are well on target using the project to actually achieve that number. What it has done has absolutely revolutionised how the apple industry see how they produce their products. So traditionally, they would grow rootstocks in the ground, and this has happened for 130 years, and they would then bud their products onto those rootstocks. They're now saying, so we can actually get a supply from you using tissue culture, and we can actually cut out some of the land that we've put aside for rootstock production, and we can now grow our products. And the results that's happened from this also is what would have taken 8 years for those orchards to recuperate. This project and our business has been able to fast forward that to where they will have fruit producing trees within 4 years. I'm really excited to be at the forefront of what I would call disruptive technology. This technology is changing how plants are propagated in the horticulture agriculture sector. It's also really exciting to be able to be teaching and encouraging young people that there is scientific development and innovation that is very attractive in our sector.
I grew up on a farm in the south of England, so I lived there most of my life, and then I first came to Australia in 2007. So I worked on farms here in Victoria and then over in Western Australia. I was working in shearing sheds and sort of getting more and more back pain and chronic pain, and eventually got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I did a digital storytelling workshop, so it was about challenging times, and it was a way of sort of expressing your story and telling your story. And during the workshop we had to look back and find photographs to put in the story. Like I'd spend a lot of time on the couch with fatigue and pain and things like that, and there was pictures of me and my dog Dougal, and he's also had a few injuries over the time, and he's 14 now, so he's getting a bit hobbly and tired as well. So yeah, looking back through those, it really made me realise how much of an impact my dogs had had on my mental well-being. So that's where it sort of led to this idea that if I can have that support and that companionship and that comfort from having my dogs around, then maybe other farmers can tap into that as well. There's a lot of research with therapy dogs and assistance dogs, and I think there's so much evidence behind that I really want to try and bring some of that therapy dog and assistance dog research and incorporate it into the working dog scene, so try and get farmers to see if they're struggling to see their dog as a therapy dog and a support tool as well as just a sheepdog. My project is a pilot program at the moment, so it's a working dog school set over 6 days, so each participant comes for 6 sessions and they come and learn dog handling skills. Ian O'Connell, who I've chosen to work with for my pilot program, he's a really well-renowned dog trainer. He teaches the low-stress stock handling, the dog training aspects, and he's got a really good system and a really unique way of teaching his dogs, so he covers that side of it. And then I incorporate aspects of resilience into each day, so we've had goal setting, nutrition, personality styles and the way we interact with others, and a session on sleep. And then the other aspect is just to really encourage people to bond with their working dogs, but then also get off farm, so come and meet other like-minded people, get that social connection, start to build some networks so that eventually they can form friendships and go on to use each other as support networks as well. The Westpac bursary has been absolutely key to the success of this program. The funding has also allowed me to seek independent evaluation of my pilot and then provide valuable evidence to seek further funding for the future expansion of the project. The working dogs are such an untapped resource. Every livestock farmer in Australia would have a working dog, and they just don't use them in that way. And I think, you know, with the rates of mental illness in rural Australia, there's this huge pool of resources that they've already got. They don't have to spend any money on it, and they just really need to learn to use their dog as a support tool as well as a work tool. So we're not trying to treat mental illness, we're really trying to promote mental well-being and prevent mental illness in the first place.
Living and raising a family on the land and on a farm is a challenging but a really special experience. Seeing the opportunities and growth and learning in my boys is amazing. As a rural psychologist and a farmer, I see that there are really unique and different challenges that farmers and farming families face. Droughts, but also hailstorms and locust plagues, everything that farming faces. And seeing all of those big challenges as well as the everyday pressures of farming, so just the long hours and the uncertainty and the unpredictability, all of that pressures on farmers and farming families as a whole. And then also seeing in my clinical work that the farmers often aren't the people coming through the doors. So I wanted to do something differently so that we could get those skills to communities, to the men and women out there every day, and have them have those skills in their pocket, basically ready to go before the crisis hits. The project's Act for Ag, and the aim is to build the capacity and resilience of our farmers, farm families and rural communities so that they can kind of face adverse challenges as well as the everyday challenges of farming life as well. And so what I've created is a brief kind of 30-minute to 1 hour session that can be run out at community events or at grower information days, kind of catch people on the ground where they are to really provide them with some in-the-moment skills, as well as sharing some parts of my story and kind of sharing that as well, so that people walk away with something they can use in that moment. For people who do want to build those skills further, what I'm then doing is an extra online component, so of 4 1-hour sessions run weekly, and there's options that can be done in person as well. And so it's kind of a tiered layer really, so the base level of the workshops and then kind of building people's skills from the ground up. Longer term, what I'd like to get in place is a kind of subscription or tech service, because the aims of Act for Ag is really to get people to be informed, reminded and connected so that they can have this knowledge and then be reminded to put the skills and the steps in place, and also connection with their community as well. I still see that we do still have too many farmers die by suicide, and we still do have lots of families and relationship breakdowns, particularly after stressful times. So overall, I hope that Act for Ag can create a stronger foundation for regional and rural Australia, so that we're not just responding reactively after the crisis has hit, but instead our rural communities have the capacity and the resilience to face these stresses when they occur. Part of my reason for also developing the project has been my own journey in mental health as well. After both my first son and then after my third son, Darcy, was born, I developed postnatal depression. And it has been really, I guess, that reality check that knowing about these skills doesn't make a difference. Even if I, as a clinical psychologist, can experience mental health issues and experience postnatal depression, none of us are immune to it. It's really vital for us all to take these steps every day because, yeah, mental health doesn't discriminate.
community I live in is probably one of the most multicultural communities in the country and has been for a very long time. My name's Kara Peak and I live in Broome, Western Australia on Yawuru country, and I'm a Yawuru Bunaba woman. So I wear many hats on a daily basis, but most relevant to this project, I'm the founder and chairperson of Saltwater Country. It was really ingrained in me the strength and resilience of Aboriginal stockmen and stockwomen, and the work that they have done in the Kimberley, but no doubt across the country, to develop the pastoral industry, to work for station owners in a historical context for free. So I wanted to pay homage to that strength, and I wanted to create an organisation that could cherish that but build on it as well. We started with running rodeos, camp draft, country music events because we had no money. Being in a remote community and dealing with the logistics of that and the nightmare of contracting in, that I had a look around and thought, we can teach people to do this. So what we did was decided to start Saltwater Academy, and I decided that it would be the best place to build a training and development arm for Saltwater Country, the organisation, and feed into the event. And then they had the opportunity to go on a volunteer to employment pathway and end up with paid employment at our event or with Saltwater Country itself, depending on what's going on. So we've even had 3-time pro bull riding world champion Adriano Moraes travel 30 hours to Broome from São Paulo, Brazil, to teach our kids how to ride. In doing so, it really put Saltwater Academy on a national stage and an international stage. But importantly, our young people see people that look like them, with lived experiences like them, doing things that they never thought could happen. I was lucky enough to receive a Westpac bursary as part of the West Australian AgriFutures Rural Women's Award prize. And what that did was enable us to secure support for financial modelling for Saltwater Academy, which goes to the financial viability and sustainability that we require to move forward, and also to help us develop a business plan. That, of course, can then be taken to potential investors and provides them with a level of understanding, a level of security about what it is that we're doing, what it costs, and that enables us to become independent and set us up for a financial and sustainable future. The things that make me sleep soundly at night are knowing that the community that I work for and the things that I should be doing for them are somewhat on track. The job's never done. It's a lifelong journey. But knowing that I am doing what I can with what I have, with the people that I know, I think if we all do that, then there'll be a day, hopefully, where I don't have to be there when my niece discovers that she's treated differently because of the colour of her skin. And so to be working towards that, so she and other kids like her have the same access to opportunity, yeah, that helps me sleep a little better at night.
I think my friends would describe me as an overachiever. And I think that that's something that happens with a lot of ambitious women, is that we are always overcommitting ourselves to things to try and be better and take on that next challenge in our lives. I am a PhD candidate with Charles Darwin University. I actually moved to Darwin to study my PhD 3 years ago, and it's on commercial shark fisheries. And so we look at the biology and ecology of 2 species that are caught as bycatch within these commercial fisheries for applications to fisheries management. School-age kids are the key to the future of our fishing and agricultural industries, as they represent the future scientists and managers of our industry. My project's called Science Totally, and from that seed that we started small in the application process, it's grown into a bigger outreach program. We have at the moment 3 outreach activities that are aimed at Year 7 and 8 students, and then we also have one that's aimed at the younger Year 4 level students. And it really is about increasing that accessibility of science targeted outreach in the context of fisheries and marine science based works, but to rural and remote communities, and being able to get that outreach to rural and remote communities within the Northern Territory for now, and increase the accessibility of science outreach to those students in those schools. At the moment, Science Totally is an outreach package that schools can purchase that can be implemented by themselves or with the help of me in their school. And so the future aspirations for the project, number 1, would be to be able to expand the number of schools that we can impact. So that is along with increasing that accessibility to education. And then we also at the moment are trying to explore the different ways that learning can be effective for students in rural and remote communities. Without the Westpac bursary, the project wouldn't have been possible. It has allowed us to travel to remote communities to start our outreach program. We want to empower people within communities to invest in themselves, their education, and the future that they want to foster. I think the thing that I love most about living in rural Australia is that sense of community. Darwin still manages to have this amazing sense of community, even though it's not always considered rural. It's very isolated, but the way that the community operates here, it's still got that feel of a small country town, and you get that vibe of knowing your neighbours, and you can go down to your local coffee shop and they're going to remember who you are. And that sort of makes me feel like I can always make an impact and I can make a difference in my community that would have a lasting effect. I really love what I do, and it makes me very excited every day to be able to do what I do. And I think it's really important that I share that with other people to inspire that passion in others. I'm very conscious of sustainability and finding sustainable ways for our future, especially for food resources. I really think that education and getting people to care about issues through education is going to play a huge part in how we combat some of these issues in our future. I know that I'm afforded a lot of privileges within life, and I think that I sleep more soundly when I know that I can use these privileges to make a valuable impact onto the change that we're going to have in our future.
I grew up out of a small country regional town, Clermont, in central Queensland, where I lived until I went off to boarding school and university and then circled back to Clermont. But that's essentially always been my hometown and where my interest in cattle and the beef industry first started. Growing up on a cattle station is just an amazing opportunity for kids, and I'm so fortunate that our kids now have got the same opportunity. You can see they have an understanding of where food comes from and what it means to work with and live with animals, and what it means to be a kid with freedom and wide open spaces and opportunities that you only get in that rural and regional setting. My project for the Rural Women's Award is cattlesales.com.au. I was speaking to a friend who's a regular steer buyer and found out he'd driven 700 kilometres to look at cattle 2 properties away from where we were, purchased them, drove 700 kilometres home and found out about ours. And the penny dropped that there was nothing out there to solve this problem of trying to find cattle for sale, which would not only help buyers with locating the cattle and the most suitable cattle, but helping sellers get a bigger market reach. People in this day and age still want the traditional livestock agency representation and marketing and assurance and protection for the sale process. So offering them this platform still offers all of that, but the website is still able to be used by hobby farmers or studs that are selling stud animals that wouldn't engage a livestock agent, for instance. Agriculture is a fairly traditional industry, and unfortunately we can be a little bit slow to change and sometimes adopt technology. I think we're getting better at it. The thing about cattle sales is it's not changing what's already happening or interfering with the process, it's just adding to it. We've had cattle from all over Australia come across the platform with some great results. As recently as last week, I was told by a livestock agent he was getting 30 phone calls a day off the mobs that he's listing on our website. And we've got ongoing results of cattle being seen, up in central Queensland and being trucked down to New South Wales, all because they were made aware of those cattle coming up for sale on cattle sales. The $10,000 Westpac bursary has been the kickstart that we needed to be able to start the build on the bullseye catalogues. So it's obviously an expensive exercise, but one that we think is valuable and worth it given the operation we've had over the last few years and seeing livestock agents have a demand for this. Awards like the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award offers that confidence and the financial capabilities and the additional skills and networking to really be able to take a goal or a dream forward. And I think that's the amazing thing about this award, is it can give that empowerment to rural and regional women. My vision for agriculture is that food and fibre are understood and that the industry is trusted by everyone, from consumers through to politicians and political parties, and the industry continues to grow and flourish and be a great future for my children.
I think my friends would describe me as passionate and focused, and if I start something, I always see it through to the end. Starting a sheep dairy and cheesery is no easy feat, but I have the best partner by my side, and we're a team. We challenge and support each other. Michael and I started Pecora Dairy, our sheep dairy and cheesery, in 2011, and we've worked incredibly hard to get where we are now. Our farm in the New South Wales Southern Highlands is surrounded by some of Australia's last cool climate rainforest. It's an incredible piece of diverse and ecologically important part of the world, and we feel that that's very important to the health of our pastures and the health of our soils and the health of our sheep. In our area of Robertson and Kangaloon, it's actually a very old dairying area, and once it was thriving with small family-owned dairy farms, but now the beautiful green rolling hills of the Southern Highlands are really littered with old dairy sheds. And through my years in the dairy industry, it made me really think and look a little bit further into the statistics. And in 1980, there were 22,000 dairy farms in this country, and today there are a little over 5,000, and that's a very sobering statistic. We have to act now to stop the alarming decline of the Australian dairy industry. With the industrialisation of dairy, it's really leaving small dairy farmers behind, and my project seeks to address this. Dairy Cocoon is an online community platform to help small independent dairy farmers produce strong independent brands. I want to help willing dairy farmers break the shackles of being price takers and start being price setters and see the rewards for all their years of hard work. And when I asked dairy farmers what were the hurdles to them transforming up the value chain, they told me it was access to markets, access to capital, access to expert assistance, and access to education. If farmers are to transform up the value chain and produce branded milk, gelato, yogurt or cheese, it means that their family farms can have a strong and profitable future for generations to come. Dairy Cocoon is in its early days, but it's already helped small dairy farms transform up the value chain, and I've had an overwhelming response that my platform is essential to the needs of the industry. We have some hugely successful and much loved independent dairy brands in Australia, and consumers these days really want to understand the provenance behind their food. So it's a great time, and there are great opportunities for more independent Australian dairy brands. Australian regional food production is critical to our culture and identity, and helping farmers innovate and adapt is something I'm passionate about. I couldn't imagine living anywhere but rural Australia. Contributing to the Australian dairy industry is my life's work.
Wow, those stories were amazing. What an incredible group of women doing incredible things in rural and regional Australia. It is now my absolute pleasure to introduce the Minister for Agriculture and Northern Australia, the Honourable David Littleproud MP, who is coming to us live from Canberra. Thank you for joining us, Minister. Over to you.
Well, thanks, Joe, and great to be with you, albeit virtually. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stick around. I have question time in about 20 minutes, so I've got to get myself prepared for that. But it is an honour to be with you today, and can I thank all of you for what you've done for Australian agriculture and acknowledge what rural women do to make our industry so great. And particularly when you have leaders like Fiona Simpson, your peak body is led by one of the strongest women I've met. Gives us great comfort in knowing that we are on the right trajectory of hitting that 100 billion because of the people that we're putting around us. Or whether it's Kay Hull and my good mate Kay, who runs AgriFutures for us, and the great work that they're doing and helping to transform our innovation systems. She has led that from the front with her leadership, strong leadership, and her strong personality. But we should be proud of what we've been able to achieve and the future ahead of us. Proudly, since I became Agriculture Minister in 2017, there was a wrong that needed to be righted. There was around 37% of Australian government boards that were taken up by women in agriculture. That has now changed to 50%, and it will go beyond, not with a target, but with, in fact, just putting the right environment around letting our women be part of one of the greatest industries in this country. The economic and the opportunity costs that this industry has borne because of policy failings of all governments of all persuasions in the past can never happen again. And what we want to do is make sure that we set the parameters to achieve that in the future. And more importantly and more excitingly also is the fact that more than 55% of those doing agricultural studies at university at the moment are women. So agriculture is opening itself up, making sure that it's inclusive, and we are attracting the best and brightest. So to you and all you've done, can I say thank you? I appreciate your efforts, your contribution to Australian agriculture. You are what makes Australian agriculture great, but more importantly, what makes regional Australia great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Minister. Please stay with me just for a little while longer, as this is the super exciting part. Minister, can you please announce the 2020 AgriFutures Rural Women's Award National Runner-Up?
Thanks, Joe. The runner-up of the 2020 AgriFutures Rural Women's Award nationally is Cressida Keynes from New South Wales. Congratulations, Cressida. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to just begin this morning by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today on Wiradjuri country, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I'd like to thank Chlorine Lyons for her welcome to country and acknowledge the distinguished guests here today. The Honourable David Littleproud, Minister for Agriculture and Northern Australia. Honourable Adam Marshall, Minister for Agriculture in Western New South Wales, and the Honourable Angus Taylor, Minister for Energy and Emissions Reduction. Also Scott Hansen, Director General for Department of Primary Industries. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to the AgriFutures Australia, John Harvey, Kay Hull, Belinda Ellett, and the rest of the amazing team. Thank you for your work and support. And a big thank you to the Platinum sponsor Westpac, whose continued support has assisted to make the Rural Women's Award Australia's a leading award in acknowledging and supporting rural and regional women. Thank you also to Pip Job and the team at New South Wales DPI. Also, the Country Women's Association of New South Wales Farmers, and the Office of Environment and Heritage. Thank you so much to Joe Palmer, the MC for today and the winner of the 2019 award. Thank you for always being at the end of the phone when I needed support. And to the incredible finalists, which I've been privileged to be among, Karen, Amy, Alicia, Kelly, Steph, and Cara. We've had a pretty interesting ride together. You're all such phenomenally capable and achieving women, and I value our friendship so highly. and to the alumni of RWA who are online today. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to meeting as many of you in person next year. I'd like to thank the media partners for the award, ABC Rural, RM Williams Magazine, and Australian Community Media. And finally, to my wonderful husband, Michael, and to our beautiful boys, Hugo and Darcy, and to my family and friends who have supported me so much through this RWA journey. I'm deeply honoured and grateful to be the runner-up of the national winner for this incredibly prestigious award. The AgriFutures Rural Women's Award acknowledges and supports the essential role women play in rural business, industries and communities. It has a long history of lifting up rural and regional women, giving them a voice and a platform to achieve extraordinary things. And when we look at the alumni, the depth of talent, intelligence and impact this group of women have had on rural and regional Australia, it is indeed extraordinary. It is truly a privilege to be among them. I stand here as a dairy farmer, a cheesemaker, a small business owner, a mum, a wife, and most recently, the owner of a cheese and wine bar. A big leap, but we're really excited to be opening this regional venue, showcasing the best of Australian artisan cheese, produce and wines. I am passionate about Australian agriculture, in particular the dairy industry. Now, more than ever, Australians are seeking the stories behind what they eat. This presents a great opportunity for the dairy industry, and for that matter, agriculture more broadly. The conversation is moving away from what is being produced to how it's being produced, moving away from bulk commodity products towards brands with a story behind them. And Australian dairy has a great story to tell. The hard work and passion of our dairy farmers, coupled with a dramatic increase in the last decade of technical industry knowledge in the areas of value adding, means Australian cheese, ice cream, yogurt and butter are world class. My dream for the Australian dairy industry is one where there are hundreds of independent brands, one where regional and rural dairying areas are thriving and support a vibrant community, where the small family-owned dairy farms have a long and secure future for generations to come, one where value-adding of our dairy products contributes significantly to our agricultural economy. We are here because we share a belief in the strength of Australian agriculture. So I would ask you, the next time you reach for a piece of blue cheese or a little soft cheese for your weekend cheese board, or grab a tub of ice cream for the kids, make sure you choose Australian made. We have the opportunity to create dairy products with unique flavour profiles which come from this land's terroir, our complex, beautiful, ancient ecosystem. Now that's an exciting future for Australian dairy. Thank you so much. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much, Cressida. Okay, the suspense is killing me. Minister, can you please announce the 2020 AgriFutures Rural Women's Award national winner?
Thank you. Drum roll, please. The 2020 AgriFutures Rural Women's Award national winner is Cara Peake from Western Australia.
Thank you very much. Naji Gurujin, Nayanilawal Kara, Nayanilawal Banaga Yaru Jandu, from Rabibi Yaru Buru, Dangu Buru Jandu from Fitzroy Crossing. I'd like to acknowledge the Wajak Noongar people, their elders past and present, on whose land I stand here today, and win the National AgriFutures Rural Women's Award. Thank you to the traditional owners across the country who welcomed us to these awards today. I really am so grateful for the welcome and also the good vibes and the intent behind those welcomes as well. And especially my Yawuru Bunaba elders past and present on whose shoulders I stand here today. I'd also like to acknowledge the Honourable David Littleproud MP, Minister for Agriculture and Northern Australia, for pulling my name out of the envelope. Honourable Alana McTiernan, for Minister for Regional Development, Agriculture, Food and Hydrogen Industry. Platinum sponsors Westpac, of course. The AgriFutures Australia team in their entirety. My fellow 2020 RWA national finalists, who are remarkable women. And now, I suppose, a group that I will be joining, the RWA alumni. So I'm very proud to do that. I've been reminded lately when what you do is fueled by who you are. That is purpose. Who I am has been crafted by many strong, intelligent and compassionate women. As the National AgriFutures Rural Women's Award winner, it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the women who have helped make it happen. My mother, Barbara, and sister Adele are here with me today. My grandmother, Margaret Mary Dolby, or Gudgebuck, who we lost last year. Her grandmother, Lucy Dolby, who walked from Fitzroy Crossing to Beagle Bay to be with her daughter, Filipina, who was taken from her. It's these women, among many others, that have brought me to this moment on this day with all of you. My purpose is to elevate First Peoples and advocate for them. I do so through creating platforms for success to let their brilliance shine through. Saltwater Academy, for which I've won this amazing award sponsored by Westpac, and by extension all that we do at Saltwater Country, endeavours to improve social, emotional, economic and cultural well-being for our people, in particular with a focus on rural, remote and regional communities. This is the embodiment of my purpose. To use my skills, my experience, networks and creativity to create access and opportunity for people in Triple R communities, particularly Indigenous women and youth. After all, Saltwater Country is run by Indigenous women. There are a few in the room, with a few accomplices that are also in the room. A couple of whom are sitting here today, our member for the Kimberley, Davina Diana, and Steph Coombs, who is one of our volunteers and an amazing rural photographer. Shout out to anybody who needs a photo taken. Both of whom have helped build our collective success. The critical mass to create the change that I want to see in the world, in my community, cannot be done alone. And it was with this in mind, I'd like to acknowledge the brilliance and the tenacity of my fellow finalists, Cressida, Alicia, Kelly, Stephanie, Amy and Karen, who I know will continue to create meaningful impact in Triple R communities. Thank you to the WA alumni who've paved the way for us, including Joe Palmer. Minister McTiernan, who's a fantastic advocate for regional and remote and rural communities and has seen some of Saltwater Country's work in action. The Honourable David Littleproud, the local DPIRD team, who not only supported me in the state competition, but went on to do so throughout 2020, throughout 2021, when COVID threw us a curveball. The AgriFutures Rural Women's Award Platinum sponsor Westpac, of course. This would not happen without you, so we thank you dearly. The remarkable team at AgriFutures Australia, who truly went above and beyond to support myself and my fellow finalists. Media partners ABC Rural, RM Williams Magazine and Australian Community Media, who I trust will no doubt help share my story, our story, and not only of the National AgriFutures Rural Women's Award that I'm truly humbled to accept, but also to elevate the voices of Indigenous people, Indigenous women and children, and Triple R communities. Lastly, but certainly by no means least, I'd like to thank my community. You know who you are. You show up day in, day out to make a difference. Without your efforts, we would not be here today. I look forward to you all joining me on the journey ahead, the rollout of Saltwater Academy and by extension Saltwater Country and Triple R communities across the north and then around all of Australia. and upskilling the community members committed to Triple R living and the success of the First Nations Australians. I believe women in remote, rural and regional communities are highly valuable, yet consistently underrated. Yet it is the power of this award that will help change that narrative. We are our greatest strength, and collectively we are unstoppable. There is strong, and then there's Indigenous women strong. I hope this shines through the work that I do, the communities I work with, and the women in turn that I endeavour to support. I believe the success of First Australians is the success of all Australians, and look forward to exploring how being connected to all of you and being awarded the National AgriFutures Rural Women's Award can open up the access and opportunities in our communities that need it to survive and thrive. Galia.
Thank you, Cara. Well done. Well, folks, this virtual celebration is coming to an end, which I'm quite sad about. Congratulations again to all of the 7 women who we have celebrated today. You are all wonderful role models, and we look forward to watching your journeys. Just remember, the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award is really only one chapter of your amazing stories. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to our platinum sponsor, Westpac. I can personally attest to the ongoing support and mentorship that I have received from Westpac and how valuable it is to the award. So thank you again. What a wonderful event to be part of, and I'm sure that the festivities at the state and territory events will carry on for a little bit longer. And for those of you who tuned in from across Australia, thank you so much for your ongoing support of the AgriFutures Rural Women's Award. We look forward to seeing you all back in Canberra next year for our gala dinner and national announcement. Please take care and stay safe, and thank you and farewell.